What?
Good evening and welcome to Gunner Shot. Gunner Shot में आप सबका स्वागत है. Today we're going to discuss about Manipur beyond the brink and why. And let me dive into it straight away. Now I did a podcast with General Shokin Chauhan last week. I got tremendous feedback from both sides, Metis and Cookies. But before that, let me put it across to everyone who's watching this. Gunner Shot is completely apolitical. We are soldiers who fought for the nation. Will uphold the integrity and sovereignty of the nation. And what we say will be completely factual. Right? We have no access to grind. We have no sides between Metis and Cookies. We are for the nation. And that's what General Shokin Chauhan put it across to all of you, even if you didn't like what he said. Let me understand. Let me explain. We understand the dynamics of various groups better than you. Most of you, I got a feedback from Metis, I got a feedback from Cookies, and you're only looking at it from your point of view. We look at it from a 360-degree point of view, things which you can't understand. We look at it a little farther away. Definitely, we don't know what's happening on the ground, but we know enough of what's happening on the ground. Because what's happening on the ground today is no different from what happened for the past 40 years in Manipur. This podcast is based on comments uh, and feedback and interaction with Metis and Cookies. You'll say, how can this guy who's sitting in Chennai interact with Metis and Cookies? You'll be surprised. The number of Metis and Cookies who are working outside the state are tremendous. I interact with them almost on a daily basis. Right? And when I speak to them, they tell me the same story. Look, we can't go back to Manipur. We have to come back and work outside so that our families can survive well there. Manipur has got no hope of feeding us. And that is a major comment. That's a major interaction which I get from everyone. Right? And let me also tell you, the last podcast, the maximum number of comments I got for any single podcast was that. But what is the thing? There's a complete blame game. Metis are blaming the Cookies are blaming the Metis. Are these above board? No, they're not above board. Both are equally culpable. But I'll talk of it a little later. Surprisingly, there's not a single comment on inclusivity or cooperation or peaceful coexistence and how to go forward. यहाँ तक people have said कि ये इनका इनकम टैक्स का ये कराओ वो कराओ चेक कराओ कर लो इनकम टैक्स का चेक इतने साल से इनकम टैक्स भरे जा रहे हैं that we have motives. What motive do I have? I like both Cookies and Metis, but you can't keep looking at it from your own angle. You have to look at the other people's angle also, and that's for both. Why am I doing this within a week of what I did last time? I get the feeling that people have not realized the situation we are in, and this is also at the center and the state level. Today, there's a danger of breakup of the state. And there's also the danger of violence and instability spreading to other states of the Northeast. So there is instability within Manipur, there is instability outside Manipur to the west towards the other Indian states, and also, of course, Myanmar is in a big problem. We'll discuss it because last time I didn't touch Myanmar. This time I'll touch Myanmar and what the problems are. Okay. First and foremost, there are no insiders or outsiders. I get this feedback. Oh, you're an outsider. What do you know about this place? You're we are all Indian. Manipur is an integral part of India. You're not something different. And you have to first understand that every Manipuri, whether it's a Naga, a Kuki, or a Mar, or a Methi, or a Pangal, is a part of India. You can't solve your problems, someone else will solve your problems. And that's been the problem with Manipur. Manipur is a state where you have not been able to solve your own problems. And you're not prepared to accept someone else trying to give you a solution. Right? And let me highlight the issues. And then, of course, hopefully someone will take this up. Have you ever thought why Tamil Nadu progresses so much? It's one of the fastest growing states. This is despite the fact that in the 60s and 70s and 80s, right, there have been strains of secessionism from India. But that's not happened. On the other hand, it's one of the fastest growing states. It takes pride. Why? The politics in a state like Tamil Nadu is about competitive progress. एक पार्टी बोलता है मैंने ये करके दिखाया, दूसरा पार्टी बोलता है नहीं मैंने ये करके दिया. So overall the state grows. Whereas people in Manipur, they are interested in competitive status and identity. Your politics are divisive. Everyone wants to have one over the other, whether it's a Naga or a Kuki or a Methi. You have trapped yourselves in identity discourse and fallen prey to greedy politicians. Politics. Your politics are divisive. I have no doubt about it. All your leaders, all your politicians have played to your story of how to get, gain over the other tribes. If you have the strength, go over the other tribe, go over the other ethnicity. I have not come across any politician from Manipur who's taken everyone along. So when your politics are divided, your politics is of greed, your politics is of power, right? How can you progress? You're in a trap, and you have to escape from the trap through different methods. But today, you're beyond that trap. That's the problem. You're on a brink of what I said. And one has to come to first stability before you think of progress. Okay? So let me put it across. People say, look, you don't know anything about Manipur. Fine, I might not know. But over the past 1.5 years, I've done so many programs on Manipur. We looked at it from the Northeast prison. We looked at it from the Manipur prison. We looked at it from the surrounding prison. I've used people like Sanjay Hazarika to come and talk. General K.H. Singh, right? Of course, General Shankar Chauhan. Everyone. We've had a lot of discussion. So to think that, look, Ganesh Short is an outsider and he doesn't know anything, forget it. And I've served in Manipur. So I know the Northeast mentality as well as the next guy. Okay? Right. Now, what are my feelings? What are the general feelings? What are the feelings are important when you deal with a situation. Let me put it across bluntly. The state and the center and the politicians, the government have let down the people of Manipur. Okay? And when in a state where, in a time when people are not being helped by the government, or not being led well by the government, or not being given good direction by the government, people will help themselves. Where the state cannot help the people will help themselves. Okay. Now the failure of the state in Manipur has led to the growth of militancy, radical groups, everything, and unviable aspirations. There are problems in Manipur, both of Kuki, Nagas, and everyone. But the problem is the state has failed, and people have had aspirations beyond logic. There is extreme polarization between Metis and Cookies. Each blame the other. The Nagas are just waiting. They're playing a waiting game. I fear the day when they are also part of the story. Then Manipur will break. I have no doubt about it. If this continues, the end is very clear. The northern half of Manipur, which is Naga dominated, will go there. The southern half of, I won't say half, the southern one third of Manipur, which is largely Kuki dominated, which is already divided in some form, might go to Mizoram or South Assam or whatever. And what will be left will be a small packet. Is that the future which Manipur wants, or Manipuris want? This is a fabulous state which has given so many good people to India. Sports, you have dominated sports, so intelligent people, and you are not able to carve peace for yourself. The entire story of descent of Manipur from a state of precarious balance in 2020 to the current state is basically to meet political and vested interests of greedy politicians. And let me be very blunt, whether it's the CM of the state, or other leaders in the state, or other parties, they all want their political pie. 2020-22, the state had come to some sort of a balance. That balance has been upset by factors which we'll talk of. The people of the state cannot solve their own problems. Why? You created walls of identity around yourselves. When people create walls of identity around themselves, there's no way of, you know. Now, look at this. Try to call in General Ellen Singh, Chauhan, and Himalay. Why should I? I've already called all of them. I called Himalay Singh. K. Himalay Singh is a good friend of mine. Ellen Singh, I know him from long. There's no one new here. I know their ideas. But if I get their ideas, then they are not the ones who's going to solve this problem, because their ideas are not acceptable to most. So when I called Chauhan, everyone has pointed a finger at him. What interest does he have in your state or Manipur? He is talking it from a person who he spoke as a person who has seen things grow in the state. There are very illogical things which are happening. I'll come to that. Right. These are the feelings which are come out. Okay, what is the current situation? We'll talk of it. I mean, people talk as if Manipur is existing on its own with no outside influence. There's a whole thing. Myanmar, drugs, outside influence. We've spoke. I'll speak of Bangladesh and the Christian issue which is coming up. What is China's stake in the whole story? right? You look at this map. I will first talk of Manipur. The orange areas of Myanmar are the places where the government is in control. The blue areas where government is not in control. So vast swathes of Myanmar are not in control of the government. But is there one group controlling the outside state? No, that's not so. Look at the number of groups which exist in Myanmar. Every area has a group. I've shown this, right? And there's no single major group which dominates Myanmar. So if there's no single group which dominates Myanmar, Myanmar will always be in a problem. And that's its history. Okay? And look at this. This is very interesting map. Have a look at it close. The area opposite Sagaing region, or in the Sagaing region, there are nearly 80 groups operating. And what are the Sagaing? Sagaing is the one opposite Manipur. So you have 80 groups operating there, small splinter groups. No one is controlling the area fully. There are credible reports that the Methi insurgent groups and the Kuki insurgent groups have gone and fought there in their civil war. Similarly, groups there have come and fought here. And your law and order situation is so poor, and you created it in such a poor manner that today it is no go. So this instability will be there. And you think Myanmar will become stable? It will never become stable. It has never been stable. You look at the ethnicity overflow. This is another map which I got from the net, but we know it. The Chin are across Manipur. They're related to the Kuki, Dzogchen, Nagas, opposite Nagaland, and Tirap Changlang districts of Arunachal Pradesh. So the ethnicity commonality is there. So once the ethnicity commonality will be there, there will be cross-border flow because you have an open border. So there is a problem which is beyond all this thing, which is going to linger. Whatever the problem between the Metis and Kukis will be there. But the problem from Myanmar will never vanish. If that problem doesn't vanish, this problem doesn't get solved. If you continue in the same track, if you go along the same track, that Myanmar will start affecting you. Okay? Now, look at this. Myanmar today is the drug capital of the world. Let me explain this to you. I don't need a map, nothing. I'll explain it to you. You know, till about last year, in fact, last year, the Taliban stopped drug production in Kabul or rather Afghanistan. So, as a result, the complete opium production has shifted to Myanmar. As it is, synthetic drugs were there in the Golden Triangle. And where is all the drugs, everything being produced? It's largely in the Shan state. They have got modern agricultural methods to improve poppy cultivation. So the poppy crop has grown further. Equally, here in Manipur, there's no doubt that the cookies and the hill tribes started growing poppy because it's pure money, and it is also no brainer that the Methi groups were the couriers for many of these operations. Okay, there's no doubt because they're all and it's a huge money. It's almost $20 billion industry. So if so much money is there, you correlate. 1 year back, the drug industry shifts from 1.5 years back, shifts from Afghanistan to Myanmar. Or the focus. And this entire problem of Manipur starts 1 year back. Are we looking at what are we looking at then? Are we looking at the a nexus between the politicians and the drug industry or good governance? So far, I have not seen a single politician talk of how to get out of this drug problem. Everyone says the other fellow is doing the problem thing with no solutions. Okay? And let's be very clear. In the Northeast, there is a clear nexus between the local politicians and the drug mafia. Okay? Okay. So drugs is there, outside influence. Today, people are talking of a Christian state. The Bangladeshi Prime Minister said there is a move to create a Christian state in this area. Is it there? So there's an outside influence, there's a Christian influence. That's a cocktail. Is that what we're going to sort out? Or we're going to keep fighting amongst ourselves? So that there's no doubt. And then there's China's stake. China has a huge stake in this entire story. Okay? The China-Myanmar economic corridor. And incidentally, China is also having a problem with this drug issue. Drugs from Myanmar affect China also, but China wants to come in. No, it adds to the cocktail which is facing Manipur. So far I've only focused on the outside influence. Now let me come to something else. Look at what the Global Times chap comes out, with his thing. He says CIA has driven a lot of bridges in other countries. India should be no stranger to geopolitical games. After all, the CIA used to provide weapons and ammunition to separatist forces in Northeast. So China is playing its game here. And Global Times, he who's it in? He's an influential voice. There's a propaganda. So on the other side, you have Myanmar instability in a fractured state, drugs and China hand. There's no doubt. Internally, you have a problem with the politicians who are very clearly have agenda. These are all agenda-driven politics, and that agenda is related to land, it's related to drugs, it's related to money, and of course power. And they have, blown up feelings of both cookies and metis. So it's a tender box, right? Then of course, thankfully, after a long time, the Home Minister has had a meeting, and he's left the Chief Minister out. It's very significant. So he's actually given the pointer that the chief minister is part of the problem and he's not apart from the problem. If he's so, why is he still in the chair? Why is he still in the chair? That's a question which all of us should ask. It's a question which Manipur should ask. It's a question which Methi should ask. But then, is he alone the problem? Things are both beyond that. Okay, let's look at the current situation. Let me talk a little about the current situation. One has heard of buffer zones on the LAC between India and China. But apart from that, there are buffer zones between Kuki areas and Methi areas. Now, if these buffer zones solidify and this area solidify, where will it lead to? It will lead to breakup of the state. Already that people are talking, we can't make it into union territory and this and that. So there's a problem. Do the people of Manipur want a broken state? I'm glad that the people of Manipur have spoken and they have elected, Congress party guys as the MPs. At least there's a change in thinking that the BJP government in Manipur might not deliver. So let's have a Congress. But I do hope that Professor from JNU, who's now the MP from inner Manipur, comes up with some original solution rather than talking of just a solution for Metis. He comes up with a solution which is a comprehensive solution for all three ethnicities. At least he spoke when he was a professor there, and he regains the writ of the state, writ of the government on the state. And that's what he spoke, and I was impressed by him. He spoke sense. And that's what I want to do. Manipur is in a state where you have to first get hold of the writ of the state, that the government word runs in every corner of the state. It doesn't run so today. Now there's a land and population issue between Kukis and Metis. Everyone knows it. Kukis want land in the Manipur and Imphal Valley because it's costly and they want to have a better urban life. Equally, a lot of Metis want land in the hills. There's pressure of land because all that population can't just sit in Imphal. So that means the land laws have to be changed in favor of both the communities, not only these two, also Nagas. Which means that you can't be the way the North Kachar Hill Council functions or the Karbi Anglong Hill Council functions. You can't be under the fifth schedule of as per the fifth schedule of the Constitution or the sixth schedule of the Constitution. You have to have a different method. That method has never been formed. No one has spoken of it. Look, let's be very clear. No group in this, no ethnicity in this is, there's no altruism in this whole story. Each wants his advantage, right? Cookies and Metis mostly. The Nagas are just waiting, because unfortunately, the reality is that the Nagas are too strong there in their areas. Neither the Cookies or Metis can overturn them at this point of time. They're trying to sort each other out. Is that good? There's no doubt Cookies have an overflow. The Cookie Chin have an overflow into Sagaing area of Myanmar. People are going to come from here, people are going from here. So cookies are both insiders and outsiders. To say every cookie is an outsider is wrong. To say every person within Myanmar, or rather, every person within Manipur is an insider is also wrong. So this whole story has to have balance. Right? And the way to send the outsiders back is not through guns. You have to have the government functioning. The government has to infuse confidence in the local people that look, don't get people from other side. You want to help them in a different manner. There are methods to do so, and there's reason to do so. Because unless those people are happy, people here, the relatives won't be happy. So seek friends there and push them back. But push them back logically, not illogically, not through violence. Right? Then what about the Naga issue? The Greater Nagaland. If you say Greater Nagaland, they want half of Manipur. It's a different thing that Nagaland wants half of Myanmar also, and a lot of areas of South Assam. But if this goes beyond control, which is the next step, the Nagaland issue will come back. Then you have a free for all for everyone there. And what is the effect on the neighboring states? After all, cookies and Mars are the same breed. They live in South Assam. They populate Mizoram. Nagas populate Tirap and Changlang districts of Arunachal Pradesh. So this problem is going to increase. I mean, let's have no doubt. There are also credible reports that militant, warlords, for want of better say, are sitting in Myanmar and controlling the situation in the Kuki-dominated areas. The credible reports. Okay, okay. Like I said, the political situation is fractured. There's no doubt about it. False narratives are going abroad everywhere. False narratives about the history, false narrative about religious issues. Ever since I've known this area, there is no religious issue between Hindu and Christian out here, or for that matter, even Muslim. But there are narratives being floated, and those narratives are being propagated from people outside Manipur, largely from the western parts of India. Those narratives have fueled the situation. You need look as much as you want to protect Manipur from influence from Myanmar. I think there's a requirement of protecting Manipur from the influence of certain ideologies from the rest of India. Okay, and what about militant activities? You mean to say there are no cookie militant activities? There are. You mean to say mighty militant activities are less? There are both. There's no one above board here. Both are at fault. Some are in sue, some are in coup, whatever you call it. Some arrangement to keep peace. Okay? And cookie militant groups have extensive, reach across the border, which I've said both sides of the border. And like I said, there's a credible thing that someone from outside is controlling. But it's not as if he's coming from USA. It is local to the other side of Myanmar. Because you see the number of groups I showed you, how many groups, about 80 groups operating in Sagaing area. So what about these groups like Arambai Tengal and Methi Lipun? If someone tells me, no, no, these are cultural organizations, it's a laugh. Whom are you fooling? You mean to say these people have not been armed? You think people are fools to not know what they're doing? You brand them as cultural thing and arm them in some manner or the other, and now the stories which are coming out in the media, not what I say, by fact-finding organizations, everyone, that these are real, almost insurgent organizations. In fact, what is their agenda? This whole story. Why are they being allowed to do what they have to do? Yeah, on ground you might not be allowed, or rather, on ground you might not yet control them. But by law, you need to control these states. These organizations. No, armed forces. Very funny. One group wants one set of armed forces, the other wants another set of armed forces. They don't trust the armed forces. Whom do you trust then? You don't trust yourselves. You don't trust the other, party. You don't trust the other groups. Everyone except you is at fault. You don't trust the armed forces. Now, people have said about Assam Rifles. Let me explain. What interest does Assam Rifles have in your local administration? Let me ask this question to all of you. Because the Assam Rifle is all India force. I have commanded Assam Rifle units. How can a chap from Kerala have stakes in Manipur? Just because he's wearing Assam Rifles uniform. At a point of time, Assam Rifles was from local recruitment. Not anymore. And they are offered by Indian Army. You don't let the Indian Army function there. You don't let Assam Rifles function there. The Manipur police is compromised. I am saying it openly. They are compromised. There are too many reports to suggest that it is not compromised and it is balanced. I mean, any force which can allow 4,000 of its weapons to get looted is incompetent. There is no sense in. I functioned in Assam at the height of problems there. There's a unified command in every state which functions. Here, there's no sense of unified command. So the cookies say the Manipuri police is after them. The Meiteis say the Assam Rifles is after them, and it is siding each other. That's the thinking. And then this border fence. So this great border fence, free movement regime, which has been scrapped by this center. I don't know why it has been scrapped. It makes no sense at all. You put a border fence out there. No fence will is worth its effort if it cannot. It is not manned. If you and many places in this area cannot be manned. In any case, that border fence will be useless when it comes. I can tell you because the trees either side of this border fence will be higher than the fence. People will just go across a rope and do what they want to do. So while there's a requirement to check flow of people across the border, is there a better method of doing it than this border fence? Is there a more inclusive method of doing it? After all, there are people living this side and that side, Nagas, Cookies, Chins, everyone, who have relatives the either side, who sell their local produce in form of local huts. There is a method of doing all this. And then there's this outsider insider politics. See, I'm showing you the current situation. I'm showing you a mirror where Manipur stands. Each of you who's a Manipuri is watching this needs to think internally कि यार मैं कहाँ खड़ा हूँ मेरा ये स्टेट मेरा है मैंने किया है I mean I don't understand. I just don't understand this nonsense which is going on there between people. But I understand this nonsense from a different perspective. It is all politics. Many of you have been politically driven to adopt certain stances. Again, I get back to the example of Tamil Nadu. I'm not a Tamilian. I'm a Telugu guy, incidentally, but living in Chennai, Tamil Nadu. And yet, the Tamil Nadu honors me, government honors me whenever I have got, something which the state, or I won't say the state, the center gave, whether I got a VSM or PVSM or AVSM, the state honored me as their citizen, as a domicile of the Tamil Nadu state. Is Manipur capable of doing this now? There's no insider or outsider. If you are in a state, you are in a state. You can't go anywhere else. How do you break this whole logjam? That's the question. I feel sad that this is happening in my country. I'm ashamed of the fact that some people have questioned the armed forces in this country. You must be the only people who are questioning this, apart from a few fools in Kashmir who are now started thinking differently. At the height of Punjab insurgency, at the height, I was deployed then when I was a major. No one questioned the integrity of the army. No one questioned the integrity of an armed forces officer. And today I find an armed forces officer involved in some activities there. Actually, I'm ashamed of that fellow. You would come out of it. And you can't come out of it on your own. You need outside help. You need two things. You need outside help and you need a approach which is together. I don't see cookie leaders or Methi leaders talking. In the past 1 year, things have gone from bad to worse, in fact. In fact, I think it's on the brink. Like, why did I say it's on the brink? It's on the brink because the state is on the verge of a breakup. If there's no solution, you'll solidify into something which will continue for the next 5-10 years like this. Suspended animation, where cookies will be in the south, where Nagas will be in the north, Metis will get constructed to the center with actually no land. In fact, what I fear is that if this doesn't go to a peaceful solution, the people who lose most are the Metis. Will be left with nothing. And unfortunately, the Metis are the most aggressive today. It's a I'm taking a statement of fact. Peace in Manipur actually favors the Metis the most. If the Metis want peace in Manipur, they'll get it. How do you do that? You have to regain the state. Like that MP Akajam of Congress Party, I heard him when he was giving a talk in JNU. He said, the writ of the state has to run in every corner of the state. The Constitution of India has to be valid. Let me put it very simple terms. How do you regain the state? You need first an all party consensus. What the Home Minister has done has probably taken the first step. He's taken stock of the situation. I'm glad he did it without the Chief Minister because I feel that the Chief Minister of the state is the bigger part of the problem. And I said this earlier. I said this 1 year back on Jaipur Dialogues when Mr. संजय दीक्षित asked me विकल्प क्या है विकल्प बड़ा सिंपल है भाई विकल्प है तब्दील करो चीफ मिनिस्टर को गवर्नर्स रूल ले आओ कुछ तो करो ये लीडरशिप तो फेल हुआ 1 साल पहले अभी तक वो टिका है as far as I'm concerned the government of India has to pass an order which says carriage of arms and wearing of uniform are banned and you enforce it with clear-cut orders of dealing with these people firmly. Anyone. And irrespective of whether he's a cookie or a methi or anything, he carries a firearm, deal with him with force. He wears a uniform, deal with him with force. And am I saying something new? No. These were the orders which have existed in the Northeast for a long time. When I was a brigade commander in that area, I was told anyone who's wearing a uniform, first fire at him and then talk. He carries a weapon. Same thing. What do you do here? Delegitimize all groups. Unless these groups are bottled back, peace won't come. The second thing, impose governance rule, change the leadership. Manipur demands a change of leadership, and that's what Manipuris have voted, whether it's inner Manipur or outside Manipur. You have voted the BJP out. and said, brought in two Congress MPs. You want a change. So demand a change. दोबारा सोचो. You need the government to be of all ethnicities. You can't have just the Methi government running things from Manipur. Your writ will run only till halfway to Chorachandpur. So you need to understand what, the whole thing has to be. If this state has to come back to normal, the writ of the government has to be enforceable in every corner of the state. Government has to be of every ethnicity. And only then the government will be in balance. If this continues, it's not the day is not far when the Nagas will have problems with the whole situation. The day Nagas have problem with the whole situation, the NACN is very strong. We all know it. I mean, I'm not telling something which is called rocket science. When they come into the deal, you will have even more problems. Then the state will go from bad to worse. Then the force structure. Which force will happen? Would you like to bring an army? Some part don't trust Assam Rifle, some part don't trust Manipur police. So how do you handle this? So in my way of looking at it, have a composite force, have a joint structure. Let both of them operate together under one command. And at this point of time, there's only one command which can help the whole story out. That command structure is there already. It's a unified command which has to be laid down by the state. And the armed forces have to be given a free hand to resolve the situation on ground and deal with any militant or any armed or any uniformed force without any consideration. I also know that in Manipur, there are a lot of women's group who become active. They stop people from being arrested and things like that. Fine. Get women battalions and deal with them. If they break the law, deal with it. I'm not talking of 10-point program, everything. That's why I said women's action force is required. It is only after you do regain the state and get some semblance of law and order and breaking of these barriers that you can have a reconciliation process. And that reconciliation process, I'm not saying that you have to wait to get regained. Start the reconciliation process. Get all stakeholders in. Get all parties, all ethnicities, male, female, everyone. Sit down. Start that process. And start that process in open. Today, I also know that people on their own, if you speak to individuals, oh, we need to get peace, this, that, and all that. Publicly, no one wants to take a stance. I think the time has come when all political leaders must go back to their constituencies and tell people that we have to get out of it. So you have to have a reconciliation process. This is the basic things which are required at this point of time. The truth process and the compensation process, all that can start later. And then you have to have an economy which shields people from drugs. The drug economy is not running away from Myanmar. And if you don't want people to be dependent on drugs, there has to be social programs, there has to be development programs where people get alternate employment. A very simple thing. Wherever poppy is grown, you can grow oranges there. It's a known fact. So why can't you have alternate fruit cultivation with all that? With all the linkages? You have to get people off the greed of drugs. I'm not saying people are drug addicts. People want the greed of money of drugs. And this greed is across the divide. There's no one above board in this. I've done enough research on this. I can spend another hour only on what's the problem, how the drug industry in Myanmar is, and how it has affected Manipur. It has not started yesterday. I mean, one ethnicity can't have an aspiration that, I'll beat the other fellow in the drug game. You have to develop yourself. There's no one from India who, or the rest of India who's going to come and sort it out. And I have a question to my Prime Minister. Why is he silent? Why is my Prime Minister silent? It's been going on for 1 year. He can go to G7 meetings. He's a great statesman. He can inaugurate a lot of things. But Manipur is burning. Why is he not going to Manipur and sorting it out? Why is he not going to Manipur and meeting people? Something which all of you must demand. Your Prime Minister should come and meet you and listen to you and start the whole process. He's the one who can actually say, this is it. Right. So I think there's a lot which people in Manipur have to rethink about. There's a lot people have to introspect. The best solution is something which will come out from Manipur. No solution which comes from outside is good for Manipur. But the solutions can't be blaming each other. The solutions can't be blaming forces. The solutions don't lie in, violence. The solution does not lie in drugs. The solution does not lie in arms. The solution lies in regaining the state and bringing some semblance of law and order into place, where all these militias or all these armed groups are put in place, where people don't fear for their lives. Till that happens, normalization is a far way out. Right? So we need to think differently. And I see a lot of people asking questions. I'll take a few questions. I still know there are a lot of bitterness flowing from one community to the other. There's a lot of blame game still. For example, look, he says PM is the head of creating this conflict. If you start with this kind of an idea, you have no solution. Right? Now, so there is a major issue in having trust with each other. That lack of trust is absolutely shown even in today's broadcast. Is there a case where the cookies nominate someone whom they trust in outside Manipur to come and speak to them and represent them? And the same with Metis, same with Nagas. Get someone from outside, but whom you trust. Are there, people whom you trust of your ethnicities to come take you to a solution, not the local politicians? Or are the local politicians you feel good enough? Because local politicians have failed you. I have no solutions. My solutions are very clear. We are 1 year too late at the center and the state. I have already said what my solutions are. Right. So with this, I'll leave things as it is today. I'll take a few questions and then let's see where it goes. I'll not take all questions from everyone, but where I find that uh, where I find there are logical things, I'll take it. I'll take a little time. There's no problem. I have no issue. If you really read comments, please answer my question. This is the third time I'm asking the assistant. How does law apply only in Imphal Valley and not in the hills? It has to apply everywhere, and that is how you have to regain the state. One law has to apply everywhere. You have to come up with your own solutions. I see a lot of things. Okay, let me take questions. Okay, why are people so quick to pick up arms, especially in the Northeast? I mean, we've seen clashes, protests over ethnic issues or something everywhere, but I've rarely seen both sides pick up weapons so fast. The stakes, the drugs, the flow of arms, everything is there. And the people, their people have built identity walls around themselves that they don't want to break. Yeah, look at this. The South and West has well developed educational institutions across all disciplines supported by industry. Northeast and so called Bimaru states continue to be at a disadvantage. I agree with them. You have to build educational systems. You have to build bridges with the other states. I mean, I find it very, very, very bad that people from Manipur and the northeastern states come to progressive states to do low level jobs. Intelligent people. Why? Because you don't have education, you don't have jobs, you don't create anything. If you don't, you can all you can do is get involved with drug trafficking and arms. The solutions are within, it's not outside. Okay. With the state unable to control the internal conflict, isn't it time the rule given to the center armed forces to enable a period of stability and allow time for the state to stabilize? Gopal Krishnan, this is what I suggested. How do you regain the state? You have to bring the state back to a state of stability. This situation is unlike Kashmir. In Kashmir, we knew the people were misled by Pakistan. Pakistan was interfering in Kashmir. Not here. Here it is our own politicians and own people who are putting themselves in this kind of a situation. The present situation is due to the policy of Modi and Amit Shah government. They are backing the cookie refugees and migrants. Look, that's what you feel, but there are a whole lot of people who feel the other way around. They are not backing cookies or militants. They are others say no, they're backing the mighties. Okay. Now the point is everyone is asking questions. Why can't so and so do? Why can't so and so do? I still don't see. Look at this fellow. He says, Assam Rifle Poppy Army, Poppy Plantation near Army Camp. We also have a video, so we don't trust this Poppy Army. So there's no trust. I don't know which video he's seen. And it's not the job of the Assam Rifles to control poppy cultivation unless they are empowered to do so. It's the government. Do you see situation getting solved in the near future, or do you think Home Ministry has handled the situation improperly? Of course not. I don't see it going away. My way of looking at it will take at least 1 year to just regain the control of the state. And if you take tough measures, If you don't, it's going to go even worse. And then India will be at a disadvantage. You will definitely have the Chinese hand will start playing even more. And luckily for us, I mean, it's sort of perverse. The situation in Myanmar is so bad that China is facing its own problems. But if China gets hold of a few bigger groups in the Shan state, then you're going to have problems even further. You cannot allow this nonsense to go on in the Northeast because this problem will spread to Northeast also completely. So, a lot of people are talking a lot of things, but I'm not going to take their questions because they're not questions. They are statement of their facts, which is against the other. It's all finger pointing even in these comments. And political ideas. Look at this. Land issues creation of government, Congress government. Manipur was a nation state once, and the explosion of this conflict is creation of government of India. So the government is also to blame. You're not to blame. Everyone in Manipur is sitting in his own fort. I am right, the other fellow is wrong, and I cannot compromise. If other fellow doesn't compromise, I will resort to all other things except progress, and I'll pick up a gun. That's the problem. Look at this. Modi's government is to exploit natural resources of Manipur and take help of Kuki. I don't know where people get such ideas. The Modi government has far more resources to take from far other places. Your resources had for you. Develop it for yourselves so that you don't have to go to Karnataka and Kerala and Hyderabad and Andhra Pradesh and Maharashtra to work for a pittance. When you say Manipur is an integral part of India, how can you justify if you can't solve your own problem? If it's a problem of India, then it's India's problem to solve. I agree with you 100%, Hannah. But it's also the people of the state who have to solve their own problem. I've told you the issue of Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu has gone through a lot of problems. Hindi, English, anti-Hindi agitations. People wanted to make a Dravid Nadu at one point of time. The government of India helped. People of Tamil Nadu help themselves, and we are a progressive state. Why can't you do that? I talk of people. Look at people say that the Modi government wants to exploit cookies. If your thinking is different, I mean, I'm taking this question because I think you have a lot of value in this question. It has to be a combined effort. That's why I said all stakeholders. And let me also tell you the kind of outreach which the current or rather the central government has done in the past 5-10 years to the northeast has not been done for a long time. Yet this problem, political greed. And I also said, look, I see the glimmer of change because you have now elected a Congress MP, both inner and outer Manipur. State government is BJP dominated. So is there a way of having all party consensus? Is there a way of having things moving up? Is there a way that you people get reputed leaders of your society to talk and not rely on militant organizations to represent you? Is there a way forward how to de-arm the state? These are the questions which are at stake. Yeah, Mr. Retired General, your ideas are not helpful at all. I have no problem with it. So who's going to help you? You're not able to help yourself. I can't help you. The government can't help you. Who will help you? You think I want you to introspect and see what is your solution? Because you don't have a solution. Yeah. One thing, because I'm confused, is law applied only in Imphal and not in the. It has to be applied across the state. I have no doubt about it. Same law. Let's let regain the state. Is it plausible that the ruling elite in the state finds the present circumstances advantageous to maintain the writ over their little kingdom? Strict application of the law may be the way out. It is the only way out, Akash. Right? It is the only way out. Okay. I find, the same question. But look at this. Someone says CM Biren is the head of drug business. Someone says Assam Rifle is the head of drug business. Someone says this fellow is head of drug business. We all know, everyone knows who's running the drug business. There's a problem of the drugs. Where's the solution? See, look at this. The Methi are trying hard to build up narration from their perspective. The narration about Cookie are all false. Assam Rifle Center. So there are all narratives are being built up by each one of them without any convergence. That's a problem. I only see, even today, I see only questions and accusations against each other. He want, please tell about CF allow vast poppy calculation. See, the blame game is on. The complete blame game. Everyone pointing finger at the other fellow. Okay, so I'm not going to take any more questions. Yeah. So first time someone says Rajesh Dinesh Singh, Rajkumar Dinesh Singh. He says governor rules is one way forward. Like he says ZRA of Kukizo is headed by a Myanmar national government and entered SU agreement. All these layers are there. You can't wish them away. I told you that there's a control of some of these Kuki groups from across this from Myanmar. Okay. So NCK Imphal, Unified Command is headed by Kuldeep, who is elected by Amit Shah. So you ask for a change. In fact, I blame the center also for having allowed this situation to come here. I hope they think differently now. Get a different, guy to head this unified command. The unified command is never held by one individual. It is always in the unified command is headed by the head of the state, either the chief minister or the governor, and no one else. If it's under governor's rule, it's a governor. If it's the chief minister, it's the chief minister. But very clearly, this chief minister has lost everyone's trust. Not now, 1 year back. Yeah, Hiranmaya Isor, I want to say a few words to you out of Manipur topic with your permission. No, not now. We'll talk of anything else some other day. Yeah, please look at about border issues also. I agree with you, Lion Singh, that there are border issues. There are live issues. There are so many issues. But you need to have a dialogue. That dialogue can't be across the barrel of a gun. Problem is when you look Manipur mighty differently. No, I don't. Everyone is the same for me. No one is above board in this. Everyone has the same thing. Manipuri Maitis have a problem. I recognize their problem. But I also recognize the problem of cookies. I also recognize the problem of Nagas. I said, if you don't have these three ethnicities in balance, with their aspirations being met, you'll have problems. And if everyone goes to their stated positions, it'll be even worse. Okay, I don't see any more. Yeah, no problem with PR, but illegal immigrants who come from should be. All these things can be sorted out. All these things can be sorted out, but there has to be a process of dialogue. But before the process of dialogue, there has to be some hard action. And this is the last thing I'm going to say. This has to go to the central government. The central government has to take some decisive steps to regain the state. The first, I'll repeat, anyone carrying order, pass an order that anyone carrying an arm, anyone wearing a uniform will be dealt with force. There's no doubt. Have a new government in Manipur, whether it's a new chief minister or a governor's rule, have a composite force. The forces, whether they're Manipuri police or Assam rifles, have lost the trust of the people, have to think differently, get some semblance of law and order going, and only then will this state come back. At this point of time, there's no solution which is going to come from within the state. All solutions at this point of time have to come from outside. Till such time, the state is capable of producing its own solutions. And for that, start the prospect of a all party consensus, all ethnic group consensus, all religious group consensus. Have a committee which takes a common path or defines a common path. It is a step by step process. Will it succeed? I don't know. I'm just giving what I felt should be done based on my experience of dealing with all these people, based on my experience of being in the Northeast for a long time and understanding the Northeast. All I can say at the end is Jai Hind and all the best. Thank you and good evening.